Good afternoon, everyone. It's David Schlotthauer here in the home weather office for Thursday, February the 8th, 2024. In today's detailed weather forecast, we're keeping an eye on a midweek snowstorm for early to middle of next week for the Northeast, for the upper Midwest, and perhaps for the eastern seaboard. This could bring quite a bit of strong winds, heavy rainfall, and of course, the heavy snowfall. And then we're going to be looking at your temperatures because there are some interesting pattern changes coming that you definitely need to be aware of. So with that being said, let's take a look at our European model, or known as the ECMWF. This is for this afternoon, and we can see where that snow is actually located over the Dakotas. We've got another snowstorm that is located over the Four Corners. That's the one that's going to cause the problems once it gets over here into the Midwest and the eastern seaboard. We got some severe weather over northern Illinois. We might see a couple of tornadoes or two today, but otherwise, that's the extent of severe weather. But let's go forward because there are changes coming. This is for Saturday. We have our next storm developing here. It's going to take its own sweet time. We got some light to moderate rainfall over Texas, over Louisiana. If you're in Mississippi, as well as Tennessee, if you're in Kentucky, got some rain that is going to be accumulating. And then look at this. Let's take a look here for Sunday, February the 11th. Yeah, we got some snow falling across northern Texas as well as Oklahoma. So if you're doing anything outdoors on Sunday, just keep that in mind. Probably not going to be a good day to walk the dog, not a good day to do any barbecuing outside because it's just going to be a lot of snow. And the models have been back and forth on who's going to get the snow and where is it going to snow, right? There's been some tracks to the north, some tracks to the south, according to the models that we've been looking at. So for the deep south, though, there is more likely a concern, more like for severe weather potentially, especially where the warm sector sets up down here in the deep south. But otherwise, quite a bit of rainfall and some gusty winds are anticipated. Then that system by Monday night into Tuesday moves into the northeast. The eastern seaboard, you got moderate to heavy rainfall. If you're across the northern tier like Pennsylvania, the New York State, yeah, you got some light to moderate snowfall that is anticipated on the northern fringe. When we get enough cold air coming out of the north, that's when you have the best chances. We could even see some blizzard conditions as well. Look at this blue color, very dark blue. Definitely some impacts for early next week on Tuesday. So for your morning commute, could really be dicey. But if we look at some prior model runs, it's been going all the way back and forth. If we look at the 12Z run, this is where it was. This is the 12Z run today. It's a little slower, but still kind of indicating the same thing. Now, when we take a look at the GFS model, you can see how this all evolves. Again, that rain for the deep south. And then once we get into the early part of next week, that's when we get our massive snowstorm. Now, the GFS, definitely a lot slower with the timing on this versus the European model, but still indicating the same thing. So now, what about those snowfall totals on the ensemble forecast? This is the European, all right? The European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting is what ECMWF stands for. So the ensembles are indicating that there's going to be quite a bit of snowfall over the northern Texas, over Oklahoma, probably anywhere between 4 to 8 inches of snowfall. That's a lot of snow. And then, of course, over here in the northeast, there's a little more uncertainty. So the snow amounts are going to be a little lesser here, but still anywhere between 3 to 6 inches potentially there over Pennsylvania, central southern New York State, as well as Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island. If you are in Nantucket, if you are in Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, you got a fairly good shot here at seeing some snow out of that winter storm. And then, of course, up here in very far northwestern portion of the United States, you have a little bit of snow. Now, looking at the GFS ensemble, or known as the GEFS, if you didn't hear that correctly, GEFS, which means the Global Ensemble Forecasting System. So it's all of the members put it together to make an average blend. And so we can see still over the northern Texas, Oklahoma, seems very likely right now at this point. You might see anywhere between maybe 4 to 8 inches of snow. That's what I'm thinking at the moment, according to some of the ensembles that we're looking at. And then, of course, for the Northeast, there is a little bit less certainty of that snow happening. But if it comes true, I will tell you what, there's going to be a lot of problems on roads, air travel problems, and everything like that. So when looking at those temperature anomalies across the United States, including for Canada, you can see areas in orange, red, and kind of this apricot color red. That tells you, yeah, temperatures are going to be well above average. Yeah, definitely not so winter-like if you're in the eastern half of the U.S. But if you're across the west here, where today it's in the mid to upper 40s here, it's been pretty cold outside, and we can see why. Temperatures are below average, and that's going to stay with us for a couple more days. But there are big pattern changes, well, somewhat modestly, come into the area. And we can see if we go into, say, Monday next week, we can see temperatures, this cold patch of air moves into the deep south. So finally, Texas is going to get to enjoy some cooler than normal temperatures. And then by the time we go into Valentine's Day, yes, I want to wish you all happy Valentine's Day that are watching this video. Well, happy early Valentine's Day. That should be. We can see below average temperatures for the Four Corners, for the Rockies, and of course, if you are in the eastern seaboard, below average temperatures. Just kind of a mixed bag of above average or below average for Valentine's Day. And then as we go forward in time, temperatures are really not going to change much. There's going to be a certain area here, I think in the Midwest, from, say, Ohio through Indiana, as well as into the high plains, that might see temperatures above average. And then, of course, for the west and for the eastern portion of the U.S., kind of right in there, below average temperatures will exist. So now looking at your actual air temperature forecast, some areas are going to complain about how warm it is, and some areas are going to complain about how cool it is. Just kind of, you just can't get your body used to something, right? So let's go into the European temperature forecast, and we can see for the deep south today, definitely a warm one, and tomorrow, definitely going to be a warm one, especially if you're in southern Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. Temperatures in the 70s and upper 70s, perhaps even some low 80s down there in southernmost Texas. So yeah, definitely a warm one for early February standards. And then by the time we go into, say, Saturday, still a warm one, but not so warm if you're up here, but definitely not exceptionally cold or exceptionally warm, right? Just kind of where you want it for this time of the year, but still, temperatures definitely not in the single digits in the plains. And then by Sunday morning, we can see where temperatures are going to be definitely cold up here. Also for the Rockies, temperatures at night in the negative temperature territory, so some very cold nights ahead for the valleys, but for the deep south here where it's going to be warm thanks to that subtropical ridge that is going to be in place. And you can see there, until that system develops, you're going to have some warmer temperatures. And then by early to middle of next week, you're going to have nice overnight temperatures there in the 30s and 20s with still some single digits in the Rockies. The northern plains and the Northeast going to enjoy some cooler temperatures, and then that continues all the way through Valentine's Day to end Valentine's week of February the 16th. Now, before I do end the video, I do have a very special announcement to share with you all, is that beginning on June 1st, 2024, mark your calendar, we're going to begin routine tropical weather outlooks on this YouTube channel. A lot of you absolutely loved my hurricane videos and discussions last hurricane season, and so I'm looking forward to tracking this year's hurricane season with you all that live in the deep south, as well as, say, Jamaica, if you're in the Windward, Leeward Islands, if you're in the Bahamas, if you're in Bermuda, I got you covered. Don't worry about that. If you're in Central America as well, we will keep you updated. If you're in the Eastern Pacific too, we'll keep you updated on that. By the way, my first hurricane seasonal forecast is on schedule for April the 15th, 2024. So if you guys are wondering how busy this Atlantic hurricane season will be, please stay tuned for that. you all are probably like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for his upload on that, because we are expecting a very, very busy Atlantic hurricane season, possibly one of the busiest since the year 2005 and 2020, which all went down as the busiest seasons ever on record. I don't think it's going to be close, but it is going to be busy nevertheless. Definitely an above average season, that is. My second announcement is that I do have a Weather Force Discord server. If you guys are interested in participating in the server, please click the link below this video to join today. There is no cost whatsoever. In this server, you get to interact with people, interact with myself, interact with my staff. It is a lot of fun. You guys can't miss it at all. So click the link below to get started and join for free. But anyways, if you all did enjoy today's weather video and outlook and discussion, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Again, when you're subscribed to the channel, you're going to be able to get notifications as long as you hit that bell icon. And also give this video a huge thumbs up and leave a comment in the section below this video. As always, I will try to be doing these as often as I can. There's some days that I'm going to be busy for tomorrow, but I should have one out tomorrow morning at least, because I actually have something fun going on in the afternoon. And then usually the weekends are up in the air usually, but I will try my best at keeping you all updated on this active weather pattern coming and continuing. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll have more for you tomorrow.